Alright, just kidding. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and welcome back to another beautiful day here in sunny Southern California. If you are still subscribed to my channel and you're still watching my videos after all the drama from last week, just thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging in there with me through this crazy decision of fulfilling a dream to buy a Lamborghini. After all of the comments and all of the vitriol that was shared with me and a lot of internal searching and deep reaching for a sign of what to do, I've decided that I'm going to do everything I can to try to keep the Hellcat and buy the Lamborghini and not go bankrupt. So today's video, I'm going to show you all the back end financial details of buying one of these cars. It's not like buying any other car. As a matter of fact, the type of financing you use is very different. I'm going to share with you the down payment, the actual payments, how the math is going to work out in my life. I'm not going to hide anything from you at all. I'm also going to show you which cars I'm looking at. But first, we're going to head over to Cars and Coffee, stop by the Lambo dealership, come back home and shoot this video and open up the books for you. But first, let's roll that intro. Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, like it filled up like 40 minutes ago.
Check this out. Awesome. All right, turn around, show them the front again. Oh, move your hair a little bit. Let's see the word. Awesome shirt. Everybody, stop looking at my wife. Check out this This is awesome. That's why I want one of these people. Don't do it! There's so much to live for, dude! There's so much to live for!
I'm not here for that.
Check out this Performante. This is incredible. I think it's about $300,000. Just right. These are in the price range. So is that yellow one. What do you think about that yellow? Comment below. Welcome to my office, everybody, and welcome to the show, which is my decision-making process on buying a Lamborghini. I got to tell you, last week was a learning experience for me. I put out that video and let you guys all know that I was seriously considering selling my Hellcat and buying a Scat Pack and then having a Lamborghini and all this great idea. And you all felt very much like how I make my wife feel. Wondering what the hell is wrong with you. You know you love that Hellcat. You know you can never sell that Hellcat. So what could you possibly be thinking? Yet I had that moment of just getting all caught up in the excitement to get a Lamborghini. And you all brought me back to earth. So many of you were kind and respectful, and some of you not so much. Nonetheless, it got me thinking, and it definitely reminded me of all of the things that made me love my Hellcat. And I went back, watched some of my old videos, and watched me walking around Beverly Hills talking about how much I loved my Scat Pack and how much I loved the Dodge product and how much I love the people in the Dodge community, the Mopar community, and how kind and respectful they are. And then I remembered that joke that my dad told me, and it was, how do I say this on YouTube without getting demonetized or looking bad, but my dad said, "What's the difference between a horse and a Lamborghini?" And I said, "I don't know, Dad, what's the difference?" He said, "The private parts, I'm not going to say the word, are on the outside of the horse." And I'll never forget when he said that to me, and I realized, I'm going to buy a Lamborghini and go out there and be part of maybe a group that hasn't been the kindest when I've seen him out on the roads. I saw a guy a few weeks ago and he's on his phone like this instead of using hands free in his $250,000 car, and I pull up next to him in my Hellcat and I rev. I'm like, dude, let's roll, let's roll. This is great. And he's like, and he rolls his window up like I'm trash blowing down the middle of the street. Then I realized I can save the Lamborghini image by buying one and not being an asshole. So I've got to do both, though. I've got to keep the Hellcat and get the Lamborghini and bring the worlds together. At the very least, show the world that nice people own Lamborghinis too. So now I'm on a mission to keep both cars, and it's going to be expensive to do. And I figured out the math, and I figured out how I'm going to be able to do it, and I'm going to share that with you right now. But first, I'm going to show you the cars I'm looking at. I'm going to show you the payments and down payments. I'm going to be so transparent because I feel like after my search of last week, I couldn't find almost anyone being totally honest on YouTube about their payments. Now, I saw a couple videos that were somewhat honest and a few that left out pertinent information conveniently and got beaten up in the comment section, like, how much down did you put down if you only have a $1,600 car payment? And one guy didn't tell anybody on his McLaren. He's like, it's not that expensive. Anybody can have one of these. It's $1,600 a month. Well, that's a lot for a lot of people. But you didn't tell us how much you put down, because I've crunched numbers 27 ways from Sunday. I can't figure out how the hell to get any McLaren for $1,600 a month. That cat had to put down at least $100,000. I mean, I can't figure out how the heck he could have done that without putting down $70,000, $80,000 maybe at a very minimum. So let's jump right in. I'm going to share these numbers with you. I'm going to show you how most people buy these cars and why I think most people are lying about how they buy these cars, and only rich people actually buy these cars with regular traditional financing because the payments are so insanely, stupidly high that no one in their right mind, or no one, at least in my income level, would ever pay that kind of money for a car payment. So let's jump right in. All right, so let's go to a couple of the Lamborghinis I've been looking at. So here's a 2021 Spider, and this one's going to be, actually, I think it's around $260,000. It's really going to be a great deal. I don't think it's this exact car, but he showed me the one that's coming in, and this could be a really good option. Wife does not like the convertible at all. I like the convertible, but she says that makes my midlife crisis look even worse. So then I said, fine, let's go ahead and go and get a lime green Huracan Evo two-wheel drive. And she goes, you are just hell-bent on really having a midlife crisis, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, I am. This is an obnoxious car, so let's do an obnoxious color. And I love green, I love orange, I love the bright colors. I think that's the Lamborghini trademark, if you will. So that's what I would like. Now, that may not happen because these cars are selling like crazy right now, because it's like everybody's made money this year. I don't know what's going on. So this thing probably won't be there. This is in Lamborghini Dallas. My plan is to go through Lamborghini Newport Beach. I know the guy there, and he's been awesome and hung in there with me all this time, and he says he's going to find me the right car. And this is a brand new one, and this is $249,416. Then you've got the orange. Look at this, Arancio Borealis, and this thing is insane. One of my favorite colors in Lamborghinis is this orange color. It reminds me of Fast and Furious, where they had the Lamborghini Murcielago driving in the ice. That's such a beautiful, beautiful color. This is used 2015 all-wheel drive for $210,000. So check this out. Brand new one, $246,000, $249,000. A used one, 5 years old, is $210,000. So these things are really, really holding the value. No question they've lost, $40,000, but in the grand scheme of things, it's still well over $200,000. And a lot of people believe these things are going to drop, would normally drop by, $50,000 or $100,000, and they're just not. They're staying pretty strong. But let's do the lease calculator. So here's how the payment's going to work. Let's clear this thing, reset it, and just go to Lamborghini. And this is how I'm thinking about doing this. And by the way, I'm not, sponsored by Amazon Leasing. I don't even know these guys. I love that they have this calculator here. Hell, they might not even approve me, but I absolutely plan to at least explore financing with them, because most people, I believe, are leasing these things because they don't plan to keep them past the warranty. They don't plan to keep them past where they start costing them a ton of money just to maintain. And with the new Huracans, they come with 3 years maintenance and a great warranty, one of the best warranties in the supercar realm. So it's really just a great car to buy brand new. So coupe, two-wheel drive, The year 2021, new. Now, this is critical. How many miles you plan to do a year is going to determine your payment. And I believe there's some people that figure they're going to do they buy these things with 1,000 miles a year, and then they hope to God that by the end of their lease they're going to be rich enough to be able to buy this car on the residual. The problem is when you do this, the residual is going to be a lot higher, and sometimes they might have that money at the other end. But if they put enough money down, they might have a little equity in the car. To me, that's a little bit too much of a risk. I would like to be honest and just say, I'm going to drive this thing 5,000 miles a year. I don't want to kill the value of it. It's not about, why don't you want to drive it a lot more? Yes, I do, but there's a point to where you really, really torpedo the value. And then the purchase price. So let's just say $250,000. And you would never lease, I would never lease a car for 60 months. I just don't keep things that long. 36 months plus just makes more sense because the depreciation's huge if you keep it for 60 months. So your payment doesn't really go down very much. So then the down payment that they say they would want is $17,500. The problem with that is that's going to give me $3,108 payment. I don't want a $3,000 payment. So I'm going to put $42,000 down. The reason why 42 is that's going to make my drive-offs about $50,000. So now check this out. $50,161 out of my pocket, $22.73 a month. Now, this is before I look into open-ended leasing, which I'm totally cool with too, because I would buy the car afterwards because I'd have enough equity based on the down payment and the depreciation of this car. I would come out pretty good. But if you look at this, the Huracan two-wheel drive, 2021, 5,000 miles a year, 36 months, $42,000 down. The residual price that I would have to pay to keep that car is $164,000. Now, remember, a 5-year-old Lamborghini is selling for $210,000. If I keep the miles down good enough, low enough, then I'm going to come out of this thing with a ton of equity in this car, meaning I could buy this car at the end of the lease for $164,000 and then sell that car for close to $200,000 and get a big chunk of my down payment back. No question, my payments were like renting the car, and that was the profit that the company got to make, along with a little part of my down payment. And I only had to pay $2,273. Now, I don't mean that to be disrespectful because $2,273 is a lot of money. And if you cut the miles down, let's say you cut down to 4,000 miles a year, the payment starts to go down a little bit. And check this out. This is how I think a lot of these guys that you wonder, how does that guy afford that car? Is they're buying these things like this. They're buying them with the minimum down. They got great credit. They put a decent down payment down, and they get a $1,600 car payment, which is only $200 more than my Hellcat. And they're out there rolling on that thing thinking their YouTube channel is going to blow up. I'm not buying this thing thinking my YouTube channel is going to blow up. There's no way I'm going to go to 1 million subscribers because I dropped a Lamborghini on my channel. I want the Lamborghini because I've wanted one since I was 14 years old, like a lot of you out there. So I'm going to stick with the 5,000, let's say 5,500 miles, and $2,273. So that makes a lot more sense to me, and it's still going to be a little stretched to keep the Hellcat at $1,400 a month. It's pretty easy to do this math, but now let's talk about how I'm going to do that after I go here. I'm going to look into Premier Financial because VinWiki has this on their site. They were great. They responded to me right away when I sent them an email, and as soon as I get closer to finding the car and pulling the trigger on this thing, I'm going to engage them. They have an open-ended lease, which could drop that payment even more and make it even easier for me to keep the Hellcat. And I don't mind an open-ended lease. Open-ended lease is kind of like a balloon payment. I'm fine with that because these things really hold their value, and I'm putting enough money down to where I won't be upside down. And at the end of the lease, I can easily just sell the car to somebody else or buy it myself if I want to. But either way, I should be able to get out of it at the end of the lease with a profit, and if not, break even and just escape, or be totally screwed, file bankruptcy, and go live underneath the freeway somewhere and drink out of a paper sack. So any of these options are possible, no question, but I'm going to look into these options for sure as well. But why don't you finance a cheaper car? Well, if I finance, let's just say $150,000 car, the problem is for 60 months, with $40,000 down, you're looking at $2,050 a month. Now, a $150,000 car would be a later model Gallardo, so it's not a Huracan, and it's a beautiful car, but the problem there is that no warranty, and if the car breaks, it's going to bleed me out of cash. And pretty soon I'm going to have that thing parked in front of my house, fill it up with dirt, plant some flowers in it, because I can get hit with maybe $1,000, $10,000 or $15,000 expense. But if I get 2 or 3 of those back to back, or a catastrophic failure of the engine or transmission or something, I end up having a car that it's so ridiculous to keep putting that kind of money into it, and then you can't sell it because it's broken. So the payment would be $2,050. Why wouldn't I pay the extra $250 or so for a brand new car, fully warranted? All the maintenance is taken care of for 3 years, and it holds its value super strong. So this is why I believe people do not purchase. But check this out. If somebody buys, when they purchase a $250,000 car, and let's say they put the same amount of money down, $40,000, look at this payment, $3,915. There's no way that one of your buddies at Cars and Coffee showed up and says, yeah, I got a Lamborghini, I finally hit big time, I'm so good at my job, I'm just rolling in the dough, bought that car. They leased that car, and they leased it for $2,000 a month. Here, they're not paying $4,000 a month for that car. Most people aren't. Wealthy people, yeah, but a lot of people, they're flexing on the nation with their leased Lamborghini, just like I will be, and paying a couple $1,000s a month. So how am I going to make sure I can afford? Let me switch back here. So how am I going to make sure I can afford both? Well, here's how. In this last week, just this last week since my last video, I paid off every one of our credit cards. I paid off close to, what was it, $15,000 in credit card debt, because those payments were running around $500-$600 a month with a never-ending interest being paid. And I didn't even realize it. It was just everything's on auto pay, and we just kind of figured it out. So I figured out that I can cut $500-$600 a month out of our monthly expenses just by doing that. Also, getting rid of the Prius, which is about $450 a month, so the Prius is gone. So now I'm about $1,000 a month in savings. If I get the Lamborghini at $2,273, and then I take my Hellcat, I pay a little bit down, and I get that payment refinanced down to about $1,000 a month, I'm going to be looking at about $3,200 a month. Where right now with $1,400, I'm about $2,000 a month. So I'm going to pay an extra $1,200 a month for this car, minus $600 from the credit cards. It's about $600 more a month. So if I've done that math correctly, you'll correct me, I'm sure, in the comments, then this isn't as big a leap as I thought. But what about insurance? Because my lovely wife has a bad driving record. So that means that our insurance is going to be high. So I already checked on it with the premium insurance company. My good friend at Farmers gave me a quote, which was about $200, just under $200 more a month, with the Lamborghini and the Hellcat and my wife's BMW and her wildly crazy driving record, which is getting better every day, and things will drop off and that'll improve as well. So really there's another $200 there. So overall I'm looking at about, let's just all in say, I need to figure out how to make an extra $1,000 a month, or at the very least get $1,000 a month worth of enjoyment out of this car. And I believe that I will. So if everything works out, the bank doesn't tell me I can't, and I don't know, I get approved, then around the end of this month, a couple videos from now, hopefully we'll be taking delivery of a beautiful Lamborghini. And if I can't, because they want me to get rid of the Hellcat, we may delay this decision a little longer. But I appreciate you all coming along with me for the ride. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You look like a 4-year-old. Get off the ground. Oh, how cute. He's playing with this toy.
You're messing up my shot.
Whatever.